Welcome back to the early Outlook football edition for the 2024 football season. My name is Andrew Hernandez, and today we'll be talking about the Sterling Golden Warriors. In the last video I did talk about the Sycamore Spartans. The other ones, I did Stillman Valley, the Cardinals, Rochelle Hubs, and the Byron Tigers. In this one, we go the Sterling. So Sterling is coming off a 5-6 season as well. They went 4-5. You know, technically for them, last season was like, you know, are things gonna work, or things are not gonna go our way, or things are not gonna work, or technically for them, you know, for Sterling, I think that team, you know, from last year, you know, they were trying to, I would say, try to live to the great teams like the 2017, 2018 Sterling team and all that as well. Because I would say that because normally, you know, you want to get in to the playoffs. So normally for them last season, you know, last season for Sterling for the playoffs, not for the playoffs, but during the season, Sterling played a lot of really good teams as well that did go into the playoffs. So week 1, Metamora, they did make the playoffs. Wheaton St. Francis in week 2, they lost to from the season. I was at that game when they played Wheaton St. Francis. So Wheaton St. Francis the year before, they did make that I did mention in that video that was my first football game I did, you know, covered that they, or second one, technically my second one, but, you know, Wheaton St. Francis, they looked really good. You know, Alessio Minivojic, I don't know, it's a hard last name to pronounce. I know that for Wheaton St. Francis, they're losing him because he's heading to Michigan State as well. So they got some guys that are getting D1 offers. I think Ian Willis, another one I believe is getting D1 offers. And I think some of the receivers, I believe, are getting like offers on the Division 1 teams. So Wheaton St. Francis, if you're probably covering them over out by the suburbs, so that's going to be a team to watch out for. But I don't know if they're going to get dropped down to 4A or the 5A again, because, you know, some teams, I believe, you know, they get moved up. Some teams get moved down, like Wheaton St. Francis. For some of you that do follow high school football in Illinois, so Wheaton St. Francis is probably going to be a team to watch out for. So, all right, continuing with the video. So Princeton, and another team that they ran into, Sterling did. They did run into, because they did play Princeton last season down there, because, you know, they had to find a schedule for both teams, had to find one, because for one, Sterling, for the Western Big Six, they had to find, you know, replacements. Some teams had to find, you know, replacements for Rock Island Allman, because it was for the ones that were supposed to play Rock Island Allman that week, because they were, you know, the thing is right now with Rock Island Allman, I believe in the conference, is that I think they're going to only do a JV football team this upcoming season. I think it's their plan, and hopefully they can return back for the 2025 football season, probably next season, because they're trying to, you know, try to build a team that's going to, you know, compete in the Big Six, because, you know, because the Western Big Six is probably one of the toughest conferences in the western side of the state of Illinois. Geneseo, another team the week after that they did beat as well, that they ran in the week after. Geneseo also, for them this season is a new head coach. So their new head coach is coming from Cary Grove, Cary Grove was also coming off a state championship season after upsetting East St. Louis last year as well. So So the coach that's coming in for Geneseo, he's probably going to, you know, hopefully try to bring Geneseo back to that winning level that the Maple Leafs would have been as well. So, because I know Geneseo's getting back to that winning level and at the football point. Quincy, another really good team that did dominate the conference as well last year. So Quincy's probably going to be a really good contender this year in 7A or 6A, wherever they are. Rock Island, I think they had a new head coach coming over from Alleman, but did know some of the players at Rock Island because he did serve under Coach Hammer at Rock Island as well. And then Moline was probably on the same thing as Sterling as well. Moline, they were the same. They were kind of the same similar way to Sterling as well this season. That Moline, you know, technically had, and then so that's what the conference would have. So that was their schedule technically from last year, but some switches that I believe they had. I think they're going to be playing Niles Notre Dame at home again on week 2. So they'll be playing a team from up by Chicago. I think they're out by Chicago, Niles Notre Dame. They'll be, I don't know. So that's the first team I'm going to talk about. So Metamora is their first game coming into the 2024 season. So that's probably going to be, Metamora is probably going to be a good one this year. And also for Coach Schlemmer, as I mentioned, you know, I think if week 1, if they do pull it off week 1 with the win in August, that he will become the all-time, I believe, winning coach in Sterling High School for the football program there, from the Gold Warriors. So if you guys know, last year they traveled down to Metamora as well. So for Coach Schlemmer, Metamora is a familiar place to him, because as well as some people don't know, do follow the Golden Warriors, or he did play football at Metamora as well. I think while he was there in school, I think they were runner-ups, or state champs, I think in 2000, I believe, because I think around the time of the 2000s, Metamora was a powerhouse football team under Pat Ryan, who was also the head coach of the University of Illinois Fighting Illini as well. So Niles Notre Dame, they went 3-8, 0-3. I think they're out of some league in Chicago, but in a division as well. I think some league out in Chicago. So last year they kicked off 2-0. The first that's Sterling's week 2 opponent. Niles Notre Dame. They beat Willowbrook 15-12, and then the week after they got a win over St. Patrick 24-14. Then right after they did go on a little losing streak, losing the likes of Mount Carmel out of Chicago, Joliet Catholic, Fenwick, ICP, I believe, out of Chicago, and then DePaul Prep, Carmel, Marius, and D. LaSalle. Or it's for a conference league, but they went 3-8, but technically 3-6, because normally, I think for the football standpoint in Chicago, they'll do like a league tournament playoff style, because normally, you know, or if it gives a chance for the teams, I don't know what they do up there in Chicago for their schools, because they kind of do some similar thing, because if they have a team in their leagues, I believe, going that are in the playoffs, I bet they'll say, go go play in the playoffs. Go try to win it all. Go try to win a state championship. I believe that. I don't know. So next up for Sterling is the records for them for the last, I believe, years under Coach Schlemmer. 2012. So we kick off from 2012 to 2018. Sterling was in the NIB 12, the Northern Illinois Big 12 Conference. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the Illinois Big 12 Conference, that was the old an old conference that Sterling was in, the Northern Illinois Big 12. So if I can do, if you do the math, their division had Geneseo, they had Rochelle, LaSalle, Peru, Ottawa, I think DeKalb, Sycamore, Morris. Who else they had? I think Canelan, I think was one of them as well. I think those were the teams that they had in the conference overall. So 2012, between 2012 and 2014 were technically like I believe the seasons were like the cell seasons for what was yet to come. I would technically call it like that, you know, the settled seeds of, you know, what's next to come as well. So I think, you know, for them, you know, they did, I believe, make the playoffs those years, but I think some of them they got knocked out in the first round or in the second round as well. So that's what I'm technically gonna call it as well. So next up, we have the 2015 was technically like, I believe, all right, they look like a really good football team. You know, that's what I say. You know, the 2017, 2016, 2017, you know, they're kind of like in 2018 were like the successful years that I would say. More like the successful years for Sterling. You know, they went undefeated both 2017 and 2016. So they did dominate the NIB 12 both those years in the NIB 12 West as well. So probably those years, you know, Sterling was really good because they did have some really good guys around 2017 and 2016 as well, because Sterling had, you know, the likes of, you know, Trey Morris, Nyrell Sullivan, I believe some names I can mention that were on that team. Nolan Sullivan as well. They had, you know, Isaiah Ryan, some other guy, Marquez Williams, I believe, was one of them that they had. Tyler Willman as well. Then 2018, you had Cooper Willman. 2019, 2020, you know, Cam Bailey, Cooper Willman, who also went on to Eastern. Trayvon Jordan, who also, I believe, went on to NIU. I think Ron Hellefinger, who went on to Illinois State. So those are, I believe, 3 out of Coach Schlemmer that went on to go play for the Division I level. And then right after this year, Lucas Austin, I believe, is going to be the only one that's went, I think, farther. That's going to a Power 4 school in West Virginia as well. So the roster, so these were some names that I mentioned from last year that we're probably going to hear a lot this upcoming season, and probably some names that, you know, the rosters, it doesn't matter. These don't matter, but, you know, you don't know what the rosters are going to look like. You know, you don't know by spring. Not by spring, but you don't know by the time, you know, by the summer or by August, you don't know what names you're going to hear in the fall, you know, when you're watching. Like, if you're going to watch watch some of the games I'm at on YouTube. The names that I'm going to hear, or you're going to hear on NFHS, on the GoldenWarriorTV.org, or when you're reading like the newspapers, or you go on other websites, like, you don't know, like if you go to Clutch Sports or any of the local news stations, whenever they do like the football previews and all that. So these are probably some names that I believe I'm probably gonna hear, or we're probably gonna hear a lot. They're probably returning. So at quarterback, they're probably gonna have Joseph Holcomb and Drew Nettleton. Those two. Drew Nettleton, who's also a backup, I believe, as a sophomore. I believe his sophomore year, he was a backup for both Kel Ryan and J.P. Schilling. They're in that team when they went to the quarterfinals. So probably another backup as well that did. So both of them did play the quarterback spot this year for Sterling as well. I think Holcomb started, I think the early season, and then Nettleton started all the way until the postseason as well. So probably another name that did come up as a freshman, AJ Coleman. Another man coming, he's probably gonna come back as a sophomore as well. So Coleman's probably another one of those names that I did throw out. Really good athlete. AJ Coleman, really good athlete, really good football player, basketball player, and as well. Then at running back is probably going to be Maurice De La Cruz. Maurice De La Cruz is probably another one as well. So De La Cruz, I believe he did play some, as a sophomore on varsity, because they had some running backs as well. The likes of, last year they had Andre Claver, Gavin Church, who also played some of that running back spot. But De La Cruz is probably another name probably going to hear a lot in the running back spot. And probably another receiver that they're probably going to bring up is probably Quincy Moss. They're probably going to bring up as well. That Sterling's probably going to bring up to varsity as a sophomore. Another really good athlete here out of the 2027 class, freshman class, right now, because Sterling's had, because I've seen a lot out of the freshman class. They have responded to being a starter on varsity. I think Coleman kind of responded to duties of being a lineman, probably as a freshman as well. So here are some names I can mention. Like back when I was at the basketball games doing that at Sterling for girls basketball, Jocelyn James was probably another one. Had a good start. There was one at Dixon that from their girls team that did come up as a freshman on the girls basketball as well. So I ain't talking about, this ain't a basketball video, this is a football video technically. So they have a lot of receivers probably coming back as well for Sterling. I think that's one of them I heard was Moss. Caden Phillips, another one that came up, I believe, as a junior. So Phillips, I think it was another one that shocked everyone, because Phillips is a multi-sport athlete, really good athlete as well. Probably out of the senior class next year, probably going to be Caden Phillips. Really good basketball player and really good track runner, and as well, because I think he can do anything. I think watching Caden Phillips last year in football, I believe that he can do anything. I think he led Sterling in steals, I believe, his sophomore year, and because I know his sophomore year was kind of like a step up, I believe, in basketball. That he can prove he can be a big time player on the varsity level. as well. So he's trying to be a big-time role on the offense and the defensive side. Probably for Sterling as well, receiver and probably safety, I believe he plays, or DB. So next up is probably the linebacker spots. Braden Burnsley, they're a really good linebacker that is probably be one, I believe, to watch out for. Will Ports. I know there was times where he did shine on the varsity spot. Jimmy Wadsworth as well is probably another one on that secondary as well. So my projection for Sterling is, you know, get better. They're going to get better every week, you know, technically. So I think that's what they kind of do. Get better every week as well. You know, get better and better each week as the season grows. So I think Sterling can shock people in the Western Big Six. Because I think, you know, the Quincy game, they did compete. When I watched them play Quincy, you know, playing a really good team. You know, they did come back in the second half, but then pull through. But, you know, when things don't go your way, so here's the thing, like when things don't go your way, like as a coach, like when things go your way, and if you're a player, like let's say if things ain't going your way, like, you know, like let's say, you know, we ain't gonna live up to those great teams, but just keep fighting. Just keep improving every week. Try to find ways, you know, to improve. You know, I'm saying it to any athlete that watch this video, just, you know, when I did this, like these previews, they don't mean anything. They're just outlooks, like what we're thinking, what sports reporters are thinking. They probably think they're gonna do really good, but they don't mean anything. So that's the one thing about these videos that I want to say. They don't mean anything. These are the only thing that they can be proved is for football, out on the gridiron, and whatever the final score says, or whatever what the scoreboard is going to say. Because the only thing these will be proved, because I know it's not August, it's late March, about to be April or something, but these previews or outlooks that I'm saying mean nothing. They mean nothing. It's only if you can go out on the field, like if I'm doing it for football, it has to happen on the field. And whatever the scoreboard says. Or if it's a basketball video, it has to be on the court and all four quarters. That's what I'm saying. So don't be like saying like, oh, we're gonna do bad. But if you're thinking bad, if you're thinking that, just keep fighting. To any player out there, it's like, let's say if I'm talking about a program that's struggling, just keep fighting and try to shock everybody. Try to shock everyone in the conference. Like, anyone can upset a team. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm out. Peace.